There you go. Okay, let me start over. I want to start with camps because I think there is a such thing as over camping and under camping. And so I want to start with the first one, which is over camping, because that's what we tend to do most of the time. So I think a lot of parents and players look on social media and go like, "Oh man, I got to get to these camps because all these schools are getting like all these kids. Sally's going to 100 camps, so I got to go to 100 camps." I think the first thing you need to do to figure out what camps your kid needs to go to or you as a player need to go to is figure out what you're good at. So I'm going to start with some examples. If you are a slapper, there's only a handful of camps that you can attend that will make you look good to coaches. If you are attending hitting camps inside of a cage, that doesn't show your skills the best, right? Your skill is going to be placement and your speed. So if you're a slapper and primarily a slapper, like if you're a slapper that can hit whatever, you probably have different things. But if you're primarily a slapper that slaps and bunts, you probably should only attend camps that have scrimmages because that's the only way you're going to be able to show your full self in the camp setting. If you are a pitcher that gets kids out like crazy in a game, but maybe throws 55, being in an indoor pitching camp is going to be a harder setting for you because normally if you're in an indoor pitching camp, they're going to put you on Rapsodo, they're going to put you on metric tools, and it's not going to show your best stuff. You need to go to a scrimmage camp. If you're a hitter that hits freaking the ball crazy off a front toss and you just clear the fence 100 times and you know you really don't do that in the game, well, you should go to a hitting camp because they're going to throw front toss and you're going to look like a champ. You're the kid that should go to the hitting camp and freaking rattle the net, right? And the cages, they're going to go, oh man, this kid has power. This kid's exit velocity is 900. That's where you would be great. If you're a gap to gap hitter that maybe runs well, then maybe you should go to a camp with more scrimmages involved because that's where you're going to show better. So the first thing to figure out what camps to go to is you have to do a self-assessment and figure out what you're good and bad at. I would even say if you're a pitcher that throws gas, but you know your ball doesn't move, go to an indoor camp. Get on the Rapsodo and let them see that you throw 75. Even though you know every time you pitch, the ball gets hit to the wall because it's flat, they're going to see that you throw 75. You just got to use kind of what you got for camps. I also think for camps, we have to go. If you expect a call from school A, blah, 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 whatever the school is, on September 1st, you have to have attended one of their camps in the last 2 years. You cannot have never gone to the school's camp and expect them to call you September 1st. That's not a thing. So if there are schools on your list, especially out of state, in the state of Texas, if you guys are from Texas, you might get a little bit of that because they're like, okay, they're more of a local kid. But if you are in Texas and you want to go to a school in Florida, you're going to have attended a camp. They're not going to waste their time if the first time they're ever going to talk to you, interact with you, have any sort of anything with you is September 1st. They're not going to waste their time at call. They're just not. So you have to spend your time getting to a camp. Any questions so far, even if you want to put them in the chat? No, it's not, I'm never going to get any questions, but if you are not comfortable saying them out loud, put them in the chat and I can answer them. But that is the first thing. The second thing on camps to me is making sure that you stand out. I was really anti this before, but now I'm starting to come around to it. Is if I guess if you have one of those personalized profile sheets, you can give it to the coach after camp. I always thought that was something that kids that were not very good did, just to be super honest with you. I thought kids that were not on good teams did that because no one ever saw them play. But I think with the amount of kids that go to camps and the amount of kids coaches see, it's a good thing. I wouldn't do anything extra though. Like I've seen kids like give it to a coach and it has a candy attached to it. Don't do that. That's weird. Or I've seen them give it to a coach and it has like glamour shots on there. Don't do that. That's weird. Make it a headshot of you with your accolades and your fun facts to know. They don't need to know that you won the spelling bee in third grade. But if there's anything that is beneficial that you've done, that can help. Put that on there, put your academic stuff on there, put a contact for your high school, put a contact for your travel ball, and put a contact for a specialty coach. So if you're a pitcher, put your pitching coach. If you're a catcher, put your catching coach on that same paper so that if they have questions or anything like that, they can contact them. If you have a bad high school coach, if your high school coach is a jerk, don't put them. You know that, not me. But I would always put your specialty coach because that is becoming a thing. They like to know like what you're learning and things like that so that they can see if it kind of correlates together. Um, be careful about putting your metrics on there. I would ask your coach before you put your metrics on there, like have them look at your metrics to make sure they make sense. Right? So like if your overhand velo is 40, don't put it on there. Like it has to make sense. If you have a great exit velo or you have a great overhand velo throw or you have a great Rapsodo number, then maybe. But check with your coach to make sure that you do so that you're not putting something on there that would keep them from looking at you. I also will put GPAs on there unless you have a bad one. I will put test scores on there unless you have a bad one. On this paper, we just want to put the good things. We don't want to we don't want to put any of the negative. Let them find that out on their own. Put your schedule if you have it. So like if you go to a camp right now, I'd only put my fall schedule on there. And then if you go to a camp over the winter, like from November on, then I put my summer schedule on there. Do you know what I mean? You want to put where they can see you the soonest. Any questions so far on that? We have a couple of templates. They're on our website, but we've had people don't know how to get to them, I guess. So I will put that on the front page this evening. So after we get off the call, I'll put them on the front page, the template. It'll say like recruiting information, and then you can go in there and get it. But we have a couple of templates mocked up that you can go in and just change the information on Canva and print it. Any question? Okay. I also like, this is just a personal preference of mine. I like monochromatic looks. I just think they look good. I think that it highlights good things about you. So when you go to camp, I like you to wear like all navy or all gold or all white or all pink. Like I like it to match. I have some areas of Impact Gold that they love to mix up their uniforms, and that's cool. But I think the monochromatic looks look the best. I think if you have a gold uniform, I know sometimes the older girls get all like, ooh, I don't know if I want to wear gold. Like I look like a banana. Yeah, but you stand out. Like nobody else is running around there in all gold. So when you run past them in all gold, they're like, oh shit, who is that? Like you stand out. And I think the whole point of camp is to stand out. I also like all navy. All navy is always my favorite. I think it just is super flattering. I think it makes out of shape girls look in shape. It makes skinny girls look good. It makes tall girls. I just think it makes everyone look good. I think a darker color always looks good. So I'm always a fan of that. I would say wear your best fitting uniform. Like don't wear the uniform from 2 seasons ago that may be a little snug or maybe a little loose. Try to wear your best fitting uniform. You want to be put together. So put yourself together. Don't show up like you just rolled out of bed. That's something that they're looking for too, like how you take care of yourself. Parents, if you are listening, don't show up like you just rolled out of bed. They're looking at you too. They're looking at how you put yourself together, how you are watching them. Are you coaching them in the stands? Are you pacing back and forth? Are you mouthing things at them? They watch that. I've had this year more coaches than ever asking me like, is this parent a problem? Is that parent a problem? And it all came down to camp, to be honest. It came down to like, oh, I saw the dad warming up the kid before the camp started and he was getting on her and the thing. Or, oh, I saw the dad, we taught him something about their swing and I saw him tell her to go back to that. So just be mindful that they are always watching because it's normally a bunch of them, like the girls, the manager, all the coaches are there. So just be mindful of like trying to coach them up so much or looking rough. Put yourself together. Also be mindful of what you eat. When you have that lunch break and you go pick up the Cane's box thing, like they watch that too, especially if then after you eat that, you can't participate in the camp. So maybe a Jimmy John, maybe something a little less, fried is not a bad option. I also tell my kids this that play for me, put the Alanis and other stuff in another bottle. It's okay to have it in your like tumbler or whatever, but I think walking in with two Alanis in your hand at 16, that does kind of like they go like, oh shit, they already need energy drinks like that. Like just be mindful of that. It's everyone knows that y'all are probably having them, but just don't put it on display. Or drink it in the car before you get out. Like just I've seen kids walking up with it in the hand, just you're not a fan of that. Give me 1 second, guys. No, jeez. Sorry. Okay. I had a coach ask what time is the Zoom. No. Okay. Um, anywho. So that is primary camps. Oh, I want to hit this topic. Feedback. We get asked for that a lot. Parents say, can you please give feedback? Can you please give feedback? They really can't give feedback, you guys. They can't. They're actually not supposed to talk to us about you as individual athletes until September 1st of your junior year. Now, do we get feedback sometimes? Yes. But normally it's from people that we have a long-standing relationship with, and normally it's positive. They very, very rarely give us negative feedback on you. One, because they're not supposed to be giving feedback. Two, they don't want to say something about you in September of your sophomore year, and then all of a sudden by July, you're the best pitcher that ever lived. And I told them in September that they said you was trash. And so now you're not considering them. So it's very rare that they really give us feedback. They all say like, oh, it was great to meet her. She's super athletic. They say stuff like that. She's super, oh, she was strong. Like they use really generic terms to us until it's time to go. So really, I feel like I get my best feedback in the summer. They kind of start to tell me like, yeah, we're going to call, or no, we're not going to call. And that's kind of really the only feedback I want. But a lot of parents, as soon as camp's over, it's like, can you please get feedback for us? They don't give it to us as much as you would think. I have a few schools that do because they trust me and we've built this really great rapport. And so they'll shoot me straight. But most schools won't, just because they don't A, want to be wrong, or B, want to do something detrimental. So I know that's tough to hear, but I feel like you guys, parents, are there watching. You know how your kid did. Like, you saw them strike out 4 times. So I don't need the coach to call me to tell me that they struck out 4 times. So that's your feedback. So that's just my opinion. Any questions so far on camps, or I'm gonna go to the next thing. Oh, sorry, last thing on camp. You guys on this call should not be attending general skills camps. Your skills are past general. We should not be going to general skill camps. You should be trying to go to elite, prospect, top hog, top dog, like you should be going to all top, elite, or prospect. So when you're looking at them, if it says general skills, you should not be signing up for that. I do like the Colorado camps too. I want to go back to that. The Colorado camps have grown on me in the last few years because they are getting the actual head coaches. They're getting a lot of coaches, honestly. They're getting like this whole staff there. And so I think if you can't get, like, if you're in California and the school you like is in South Carolina and you're like, man, I can't get over there. Oh, those dates or whatever don't work for me, but they're in Colorado and you're already going to be in Colorado. I think that's a very good option, especially the ones that are like Sunday and Monday, because normally those are the whole staff. They're like 3 or 4 coaches from that entire staff. And they're normally not too crazy large in numbers. The only tough thing about being off campus is I don't believe they can take pictures, and I don't believe they can really talk to you after camp. So that's what you're not getting by not being on the campus. But it might be a way to get get a good bang for your buck, because in those camps, you might be able to attend like 2 or 3 of those in one location where you maybe have to fly 3 different times. So I think that's a good bang for your buck if you're already in Colorado or you're going to be in Colorado. I am a fan of those. I think they're normally on Sunday and Monday. And some of them have multi schools, but primarily have been the head coaches and assist, like they've been the actual coaches of the school, not grad assistants and all of that. So I like those. Okay. Next thing that we have is I think you guys got to figure out as you're looking at your list, we got to figure out what's important to you. And what I mean by that is this is the year where you got to start figuring out what are the things that are going to help you make your decision. I always break them up. I used to break them up into 5 factors. Now I'm breaking them up into 6. And I'm going to tell you what they are. And if you have a pen, write them down. And you got to start thinking of where they rank on your list, right? So academics. And when I say about academics, I mean the pedigree of the school. Parents like to say like academic help. Every school is going to give you academic help. Every school is invested in your academic success. Most colleges get a bonus based on your GPA and your APR, which is your graduation rate. So they're invested in your success. Once you're at their school, they're going to make sure you're successful. So when I say academics, I mean the prestige of the degree. So a Stanford, a Harvard, like, is that important to you? National championship pedigree. Does the team win on a national level? Okay. Playing time. Scholarship amount. The new one added this year is money, as in revenue sharing or NIL. So that's different from your scholarship. Location, how far or close do you want to be from home? When I say location, I'm talking about from home. Is that going to be a factor? And then the school atmosphere or culture. So I think those are the main reasons why kids make decisions. And what I mean by that is like, you know how people are like, oh, I want to go to, and I'm just saying local schools to me, so that, oh, I want to go to A&M because they have such great, I've always wanted to be an Aggie. I want to be that type of thing. That's what I mean by culture. Oh, I want to go to UCLA because of that culture. Like, is that what's going to pull you in a direction? The reason why I say you got to start figuring out what matters to you in those sense is that is what coaches are going to ask us. So help your travel ball coaches by trying to start thinking about what matters to you and sharing it with them so that when they're asked by coaches, they're able to say like, because a coach will say, okay, Jazz, I know they're going to get offered by this many schools. What's going to be what's going to help them choose? And I got to be able to answer that. And I can only get that answer from you guys. Okay, sorry, I got to circle back. I got one question about camp. So only do the Colorado camps, not the Ronald McDonald player camp. To be honest, I didn't know Ronald McDonald had a player camp. That's my first time ever hearing about a player camp for them. I don't know. I will look it up and I will get back to you because I know who this is. So I will look up the Ronald McDonald and get back to you. But good question. Okay. So, anywho, those are the things I think should help you decide. And I think what you do is rank them. So I think all those things matter, but you just should rank them. Like, what is going to be the number one thing that makes me make a decision? What's going to be the number 2 thing? And I will tell you mine from like 2006 is when I went through it. Of 2004, when I went through it. So my number 1 thing was scholarship. I'm the oldest of 5 kids. So I knew that my parents were not going to be able to afford to pay for my college. Like that just wasn't an option. Especially, I knew for the most part I wanted to go to state. So the scholarship amount was very important to me. And then the next factor that was important to me was location. I wanted to be drivable distance so that my parents could come to games. Of course, I'm the oldest of 5. So I knew that if they had to like go to work, they could get off from work and come watch me play. Like that's what I wanted. Back in the day, they didn't play games on Friday too. So I just want to throw that out there. You played a doubleheader Saturday and a game on Sunday. So I knew my parents could work all the way to Friday, leave work on Friday. They could drive to Baton Rouge and then they could watch me play. So that was super important to me. My third thing was playing time. I knew I wanted to play early. I did not want to wait to play. I wanted to play as a freshman. I wanted to be an immediate impact. That was important to me. My My fourth thing was probably school atmosphere culture. I wanted to party. I wanted to have a good time when I was not playing softball. I have very strict parents, and so I wanted to live my best life whenever I was not on the softball field. And then my last thing that I cared about in life was academics. I just wanted to be eligible to play. So I think you have to have an honest conversation with yourself on what's important to you. And I think some of that's going to have to do with what career you think you might want to choose. No one's going to hold you guys to that at 15 and 16 years old. No one's going to hold you to it. But I think if you have some sort of idea, then you have to go from that. I'll give you, for instance, I have a kid that medical school is important to them, right? Like I had a kid that's in college, that medical school is important to them. And so they chose a school that had a good success rate of getting kids from their undergrad into medical school. But they also gave her the most scholarship and the most NIL and rev share to where she could take some of that NIL and rev share and use it for medical school. So she knew she wouldn't have to pay any money for her undergrad, and she could have a little money to pay for medical school out of her rev share. So that was that's where her major and her choice of career kind of led her priorities. Do you have any questions about that? That may change, guys, and that's okay. You just want to keep thinking through. Like that's something when you sit down and think about schools or you talk to your parents about schools, you want to keep that in the back of your mind on your priorities. Okay. Along with that, parents, I think if I have parents listening, I think you should make a list of what you think their priorities should be on your own. And at some point, have that conversation because I don't think this is purely a decision for a 15 and 16-year-old to make. I think it has to be a family decision. And I think with that, parents who've lived, right, who've gone to college, who've done their thing, they have to have some input on that too. So I think she makes a list, you guys make a list, and then maybe you sit down and like kind of cross-reference it and talk through it. I always tell my kids, let's talk through it. There's nothing that you're thinking is wrong, but let's talk through why. Because sometimes you get to the why and you're like, oh shit, I don't know why I put that on there. That's not what I meant. Because what you mean versus what you put on the list may be separate. So parents, I think you guys got to sit down and discuss that with your kids. And kids, you got to listen to your parents a little bit. They know a little something. I always say they're the last person in your life that intentions are to purely help you be successful. Once you go to college, their job depends on you being successful, right? So they're not purely there for your success. If you can't help them be successful, they move on to the next. This is the last time that their intentions are purely just to make you be successful. So we got to listen to them a little bit. Okay. I know kids don't like when I say that. That is the truth. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is everyone's favorite thing, social media. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to start with my things I don't like. That doesn't mean you have to do what I say. It doesn't. You do what you want. I'm just telling you what I think. I don't like tagging coaches unless you've gone to a camper clinic and you are thanking them for that. I think when you just post a random video of you hitting on the field or hitting in the garage, tagging coaches to me can do nothing but go wrong because you can't tag all the coaches in the world. You also can't tag them all on one line. So someone's going to be higher than the other person. And you'd be shocked how much they look into those little things. I've had coaches say to me, well, she always tags Florida first, so she can't really be into us. I'm like, okay. Or they'll say, she always tags so-and-so, or especially I guess Twitter puts you on a second line if they get to so many. Well, we're always on the second line. I just think it's best not to tag them. I do. I think if you feel like you really want Florida to see your post, send it to their DM. DM it to them. Send it to them like, hey, this is for you, big dog. I really want to go to Florida. I just think that's the easier way. I think you do better tagging your coach, the pro impact goal, me, extra innings, all the, all those extra innings. Love all the little softball pages that you post and they repost. And I think those are better. Softball America, all the other things. I think you post those. If you really, really want a coach to see it, send it to their DMs. If their DMs aren't open, you can even email it to them. Email the post. I'll give you a like a shareable link. Put that in an email if you really want the coach to see it. Honestly, if you tag me and I know the schools you're interested in, I sometimes just send it, DM it to them or text it to them and say, hey, did you see little Sally? She can hit it or whatever. But tagging coaches is just tough. And I always try to tell kids, put yourself in their shoes. Imagine if I tagged Nevaeh every day. Every day I did something. Every day I did my homework. Every day I did what I do. I was like, Nevaeh, tagged you. And then September 1st came and Nevaeh didn't call me. So then I started tagging Chloe. I was like, September 2nd, I'm like, hey, Chloe, would you not be like, well, damn, you ain't been tagging me? Now you want to jump on my boat. Like, they have feelings too. And so I think the best thing is just don't be tagging them. Unless you went to a camp, tag them and thank them. Those type of things. I think that's the best way to do it. I also have another controversial take. I do not like when you guys tag them because you got a letter. I just don't like it. I think it's half the time it's the same school, 100 tags. Like that just looks crazy. I also think it takes away any sort of, how do I put this politely? Any sort of word manipulation that the coach can do with who is recruiting you. I can't tell them all these schools are recruiting you when they say, well, damn, she only getting letters from 3 schools. She put it on social media. I saw it. I can't say 10 schools are doing it because they know that only 3 are. So I just think you don't need to post it. I think put your letter in your house. Like that's so cool. Once you get committed, you could do the whole. I saw a thing the other day where they post all their letters if you want to. That's great. I love it. But I think posting that it's just a lot. And I think it's also not, like I said, it's not helpful because I can't, when they ask me who's recruiting you, I'm gonna always add about 3 extra schools just on GP. But if you put, you know what I mean? They pay attention to that stuff. So just be mindful. They're like, man, I only see her ever getting a letter from Auburn. She only get 1 letter or 1 school that sends her any letters. So I don't think you need to do that. That's my opinion. Do whatever you feel. Unless you play for me, and then you don't do that because I don't like it. I like the tagging. Emails. Don't send email like parents. I'm talking to y'all parents because I know y'all really sending them. Don't send emails at midnight. That looks crazy. I've had coaches like, well, damn, the kid's up super late. No, they're not. The kid is asleep. The parents are sending it. They have this really cool feature now where you can like schedule them for normal times. Also, I'm going to go back to something else. Stay off of Twitter in the middle of the game. I thought this was really funny. I had a coach watching my team play. He went on Twitter. He followed my kid's Twitter right then, and the kid followed him back in the middle of the game. And the coach was like, well, that's crazy. How did they do that? Well, that's because it's their mama. At least pretend, y'all. Wait till the game is over. Send the emails at normal times. Okay? That's what I would say. When you're sending an email, include a fact. You don't have to include, like I saw a coach send me an email the other day that was like, hey, coach, I saw you guys had a tough season. I know if I was there, we don't do that. Nobody likes that. Don't do that. Don't be that girl. Like she basically tried to put herself like, if you recruit me, then I will help you. Nobody wants to hear that. That's crazy. Just say normal things. Hey, coach, hope you got good luck this season. I can't wait to get out there to watch a game. Great. Hey, coach, saw you got your 100th win. Great job. Like you can include a fact without it being like a weird fact of like, that doesn't work. I think be careful with farm emails. Like, you know how you just change the top? Like you send the same email to 50 schools, but you just change like, hey, coach so-and-so. Just be mindful of that, of it looking like a farm email. Like make sure it makes sense to the program or whatever. Just double check it before you send it. I believe if you're going to do that, and you're going to send your schedule, whatever, do that 2 or 3 days in advance. This is our schedule for the weekend. Anytime you're going to post like a schedule revision, make sure you post it on social if you're going to email it too, because sometimes they're not like some of your older coaches, they're not checking their email every 5 minutes. So maybe they don't even see there's a schedule revision. But I would post it 2 to 3 days in advance. If you saw the coach show up and you want to send them a thank you, I would do that like Monday or Tuesday after the tournament. Thank you, Coach so-and-so, for coming. I hope you like what you saw. This is where you can see me next. And you can also include that player profile if you would like. You can also include a link to maybe your sports recruits with where your videos are. If you have that, or I know some people do a YouTube, any of those things, you can include that in there. Don't CC me. I want to be very clear. I don't want to be CC'd. That's not what I want to do in life. If you would like to send me later an email with all the schools you sent your email to, I'm okay with that. But I've woken up before and had 400 emails because everybody was going to Colorado, and I got CC'd on 40, 50 emails a kid. I don't want that. I don't want that in my life. I trust you. You send your emails. I love it for you. If you want to send me a list, I don't mind a list, but I don't want to be CC'd on emails. I don't know if your other coaches do. If your coaches on your travel team do, great, CC them to death. I don't want to be. You could tag me on Twitter, though. I like that. I like being tagged on Twitter. You can even DM me on Twitter, like send it to me, DM on Twitter. You want to make sure I saw it for some reason. I'm fine with that, but don't tag me. I mean, don't CC. Not a CC'er. Okay, social media too. Put all the things you do. If you are a pitcher that hits, you should have 50% pitching, 50% hitting. If I look at your social media and you got 90% hitting and 10% pitching, I'm going to think you're not a good pitcher. That's what I mean. That's immediately what I'm thinking. That's what the coach is thinking too. Show your main thing as the main thing, or show it equal, right? Like show it equally. If you are a pitcher shortstop, I have to go on pitchers because they're the ones that do that. Show equal. Don't show 90% shortstop, 10% pitching, because again, I'm going to think you got to show equal. Got it. I also think you should show your 360 self. So I always say, like, if you have dinner with your grandma every Sunday, show that. I think that's really great. College coaches spend a lot of time with y'all once they get there. It's 20 hours minimum on the field, or maximum on the field, like during the fall. But that doesn't include study hall. That doesn't include checking in. That doesn't include when you get to the spring, you're traveling, you're playing 5 games a week. They spend a lot of time with you guys. And so I think they do want to know, like, hey, I'm not a serial killer. I have dinner with my grandma. Like, I think they want to see that too. So show that side. Show the working out if you do that. Not every day, but show that. Show if you're great academically, if you get some great academic honors, show that. If you raise pigs and dogs and not dogs, cattle and whatever else you be raising, show that. If you play another sport, show that. I think you should try to show your 360 self. The only thing I say be careful of, especially if you live in Texas, is showing a significant other a lot. The rumor about Texas kids is it's very hard to get them to leave Texas. And there's a statistic that if you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, them, they, those, whatever they got going on, if they have one of those, they are like, I thought it was like 30-something% more likely to come back to Texas because they have something pulling them home. So be mindful of showing that. Like, it's okay to show it, but I wouldn't have every other post be you and your person. I would say just be kind of mindful of showing that a lot. Also, if you are a TikToking queen, be mindful of the words in the songs. They care about that. They care about if every song you dance to says 100 bad words to it. If you feel like you just got to TikTok to bad songs, put it on private. Put on private. That would be the way to do it. Instagram, same thing. I know you guys like to like make it private or use your Finsta that only shows your eyeball and all the stuff y'all be doing. Don't add the girls. So when you go on visits or go to camps and you meet Sally from Alabama, and you're like, oh my God, Sally was so nice from Alabama. She loves me. She keeps adding me on Snap and she added me on TikTok and she added me on Instagram. That's the coach. They're not dummies. They know that you're not going to add them, but you'll add Sally. So they ask Sally to do it. And then Sally just goes in the office and lets them scroll through your TikTok and through your Instagram, your Finsta, whatever y'all call it now. So be mindful of that. Like if you like to do bad things, keep it with your bad friends. I prefer you not to do bad things, but if you like to, don't try to add Sally from Alabama or add so and so from Arkansas or so and so from Oklahoma, because all they're doing is taking that back to their coach. They have no loyalty to you. Speaking of that, when you go to camps, be mindful of what you say about other kids too. I've had players say, oh, I didn't know so and so didn't get along with so and so. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that either. And they're like, well, they told one of our players that they don't like so and so. You don't need to tell them that, guys. Just hold that inside. Hold it inside. You don't need to tell them that. Hold it in. So everyone is not your buddy. They're not just chit-chatting with you because they love hanging out with 15-year-olds. They're trying to get information from you to get it back to their coach. It's all about information to get back to the peoples. On the other side of that, also with social media, just make sure it's presentable. I don't know a better way to say it. Just make sure it's presentable. If you notice, it's softball is picking up, so they're digging deeper and diving deeper into our stuff, which is great. But it comes with the responsibility of being able to handle that. So parents, I would say check your kids' social media if you can. Oh, sorry, that's where I got off. People are going to slide in your DMs and offer you product to wear, to do this, to do that. Be mindful of that. If you live in Texas, that's illegal. Until you're 17 and you're signed to a school. If you live in California, it's not illegal, but just be mindful of what accepting that product means. Because sometimes they have it in their clause that if you accept the product, you don't even have to sign a contract. You've signed a contract by accepting the product, by saying yes or whatever when you text back yes. Just be mindful of that, of them trying to get into your, because sometimes they can realize that you're going to be a big time kid and they want to get their hooks into you early before you have representation, before you have stuff, and just kind of get on your thing. So if you get any of that stuff and you have questions, ask your coach, ask me, and we can look that up. But don't just be accepting random stuff. Oh, they just said all I had to do was do one post. Well, that's NIL, and that is illegal. Any question? Even if it's Easton, we had an issue with Easton a few years ago. They did a Easton bat thing, and they sent all these bats to girls around the country, and they sent them to Texas kids. Immediately got turned in from somebody who didn't get a bat, because it's always a hater that turns you in. So a girl that didn't get a bat turned in the girls that did get a bat, and they almost weren't eligible. The travel ball orgs had to go back and purchase the bats from Easton, or the kids were going to be ineligible. So with UIL. So just be mindful of that. Any questions on social media NIL? Really social media. I don't know why I said NIL. No. Okay, I'm going to give you the same 3 rules that I give everybody else. I think on social, you should try to cover your 3 B's, your boobs, your butt, and your belly. If it's forward facing that coaches can see it, those would be the 3 things I try to cover. Keep that for your fences and all that. Keep the boob, butt, and belly for your other people's. But on forward facing where coaches can see it, I think those are the 3 things we should try to keep covered. Okay. Who? Okay. So talking through recruiting rules, I think we kind of touched on this a little bit. People have asked me, I've heard like, is it hurting the kids? Is the portal killing the kids? Is the roster limit killing the offers? I don't think so, to be honest. I haven't seen it really drastically hurt things. I think coaches take their time sometimes. I think you get two things. You get two rushes. You get the initial rush where you're like, damn, everyone committed September 2nd. Wow, that's weird. Like you see that. And then you start to see one later where you see it maybe in mid-October where it's like, bam, everyone is committing. I think it gives you two rushes. I think you have their initial one and then you have where they wait a little bit to kind of figure it out. I think your middle of the road schools, like not your top of the top of the top, they wait a little bit just to make sure that they can pick the right kid. I think that that's the only trend I'm seeing. And I'm seeing that they don't want to waste their time. Excuse me. I'm getting the question a lot. Well, are we in their top five? 5 years ago, it used to be, are we in their top 10? And I was like, yeah. Sure. And then about 3 years ago, it became, are we in their top five? This year, I got a lot, are we in their top three? And I was like, damn, three. Okay. Um, so I think that you always got to be kind of thinking of that. Like, even if your top five, I would say five, even if your top five rotate, I think you have to kind of be thinking of a top five because we're going to be asked that. Now, I'll be super honest with y'all on this call. I do lie. I tell everybody they're in everybody's top five. So I'm like, yeah, girl. Yes. University of West Minnesota, South Texas, you are in her top five. Um, I try really hard to do that, but of course they are smarter. So I think if you could like kind of think of a top five, maybe a top 10 before you head into the summer, that'd be really helpful to kind of have that in the back of your brain. Because what they also do to try to make you show them is everybody has camp on the same day. And then they invite you and you have to pick. And that's kind of where they really can see if you're in their top or not. And that I'm talking about next August. So you know when you get to the August before you see all that class going to camps, I think that's a tactic by the college coaches to try to get you to choose. But if you could really know where you want to go, that would be helpful for your travel ball coach. Any question about anything so far? I'm nearing the end of my list, guys, so I'm just gonna turn it off. Any question? Okay, no one asked me for this, but I'll tell you. I think you also got to be mindful on what stuff you wear. I know you guys like to go to camps and get a bunch of sweatshirts and shit. Just be mindful on what you wear and what's posted because coaches read into that. I had a coach tell me, well, it's really funny. She's always in blah, blah, blah sweatshirt. And I'm like, okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know she was in there. But they pay attention to all those little details. So just be mindful of that, of like taking a bunch of pictures in one particular sweatshirt or one particular t-shirt because they think that means that that's where you're really where you want to go. And it may not. I've had kids say, well, it was the most comfiest one or whatever. But just be mindful of that. And they only know it because you guys take pictures and then post them. So maybe don't take all the pictures. Well, the last thing I'm going to say is I think one of the most important things, be honest. When you're talking to your coach, your recruiter, your person that is going to be talking for you or being your advocate, I think honesty is the biggest thing you can do. Hopefully, you have an advocate that you trust and that is going to relay your messages appropriately or not relay messages that they shouldn't. But I think being honest is the only way that we can truly help you find the right home. Good or bad. I really encourage the kids to be honest. If you went to a camp and you're like, I know this is school that I'm supposed to love, but it's something weird about it. I don't like it. I think you should be honest because I always say if a kid tells me one thing about a school, then I'm like, ooh, I can then help them maybe change their list. So I had a kid that on the call, I realized I'm like, man, this kid hates cities. Like they don't want to go to school in a city. That's not for them. Like every school that they disliked was a city. They really want to be in a college town. And so that helped us take like 5 more schools off the list because they were cities. And so we didn't even have to go down that path of like trying to go there. And I actually had the opposite happen today. I had a kid say, oh, I don't really like this school. It's in the middle of nowhere. Like, okay, well, good. Okay, cool. Like now I know the school in the middle of nowhere, probably not your thing. So like I think the most like the more honest you can be, the better. I don't think there's anything that should be off limits. I think you should be able to ask any question to your person. I think you should be able to tell them whatever you think and feel about it's your recruiting journey. And I think our job is just to make sure that we listen and that we're helpful. Um, and it's not our decision to, it's not our job to make the decision for you. So I want to say that to you. If you have a coach that is pushing their opinion on you, and it, well, I take that back. Sorry. I got one opinion I do push on my kids sometimes. I'm like, go see. Like, if I have a kid that has a few visits and they want to go, like, they go to one visit and they're like, I love it. I want to commit. And I know they never really went anywhere. I may say, like, I really wish you would go look at 2 schools just to see. Like, go have something to compare it to. I do push that opinion. But other than that, I don't think it's our job to push opinion. So I think if you guys need something, you got to just communicate that with us. And if you don't feel like you're getting what you need to get from your advocate, then let's figure out how to get you what we need to get you. So you just reach out and let's figure that part out. This summer, this fall and summer, one time getting out, one time, doing something crazy, making an error is not going to get you erased off a list. It's not. The biggest thing that will get you erased off the list is the effort, the attitude and effort. They're watching. That saying that they watch you as soon as you get out of the car with your parents, they really do. They do. They watch you at the Circle K or the Buc-ee's, or they watch that too. They watch everything. They watch to see like, man, that girl, she snatched the soda out of her daddy's hand. Like I've had a coach say that to me before. Or the dad gave her a bunch of waters and she didn't even say thank you. So just be mindful of that kind of stuff. That goes back to what I said before when I said like they have to spend a large amount of time with you and they don't really want to hang out with like serial killers and jerks. So be mindful of that. On our call, we're gonna have another call like in August. We're gonna talk through talking on the phone, but I don't want to overwhelm you a year out because I got very bad feedback this year with my 27s, and I will not let that happen again. So we are going to talk through talking to coaches on the phone and how to have a conversation out of our mouths and not through our fingers. We're going to get that going because I do not want to hear that I have bad communicators anymore. So we're going to do that. Yeah. Any questions, guys? Okay, I have one more statement. The weird eyelashes, let's tone it down. Let's tone it down. Like, they should not be crazy that long where you feel you can't see balls and strikes. Y'all, some of y'all are looking crazy. Tone it down. I just have to speak honestly. The eyelashes are getting out of control. Sorry. I know y'all get upset. Y'all love them, but just take it down a number or two. All right, well, this was really enlightening. You guys told me a lot of things. All right. Well, one more time. Any other questions? Any questions about anything? Let me look at the chat. I feel like any other questions over there? No questions. Okay. Well, I thank you guys for joining me on this Friday or Sunday. Shit, I don't know what day it is. I look forward to talking to y'all again soon on your September 1st. If you have questions, reach out to me, please. Okay. All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
Thank you.
Of course.